This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 109, Film Fan Theories, Volume 1.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 109, where we put some film fan theories to the test. That is not easy. Why did you come up with that title? Film fan theories. This is volume 1 of film fan. It's volume 1. That's all you need to know.
It's a little interlude episode for you.
So, basically, I'm going to go through some film fan theories, and Brett's going to judge them. That's what we're going to do. So, I am your host this evening, Damien Hicks, and as ever, I am joined by
Brett Summers.
But there's no Paul Hawkins tonight. He is still sunning himself in sunnier climes. So, for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, you can see we're joined by Ray the Orangutan, who is a recent acquisition to the Cult Faction team. He normally hangs above the curtain frame above Brett's head, but today he's actively participating in the Cult Faction podcast.
You may remember his great uncle Clyde, who did a lot of work with Clint Eastwood.
Did a lot of left-hand turns.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so before we get down to the film fan theories, Jesus. How you been this week, Brett? What's been going down in Groovetown?
Still in the school holidays, so it's all nice and chilled for me, to be honest.
Right for some, innit?
Yeah, all okay.
Oh, I am listening, but I forgot to get myself a drink before we started.
How about yourself? You need to see what's got on you.
Not a lot, really. I painted the shed. That was a bit of fun. Did some gardening. I think that's it. I don't really think there's some kids' parties that I've had to go to because it's that time of year where all of Emily's classmates are having parties. So
Fair enough.
Like that. So that's fun. Other than that, not a lot. So let's go straight to what we've been watching, shall we?
Yeah, we can do that.
Should we do that? Got a list?
Let's.
I've got a few things.
I've got a huge
You've got a
list.
list. He's on holidays.
Oh God, yeah. Right. Now you may remember a particular rant I made, probably in the last 3 or 4 months on here, where oh God, what's the app called?
BritBox, yep.
Removed Robin of Sherwood as I was watching season 1.
Yep. Remember it well.
Wow. Thanks to the freshest app going, ITVX, who are also rerunning it on ITV2 and 3 at the moment, I have been re-engaged in the Robin of Sherwood.
So that explains its disappearance from BritBox then.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be sharing of both anyway. I'm still trying to work out because I get I can't remember the dearer ITVX one because it gets rid of the adverts. And because when you get that one, you get stuff from BritBox, but there's stuff on there that's not on there, and vice versa still. So I want to cancel one of them, but there's still bits that are clever enough to keep you dangling, if you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway, Robin of Sherwood should never have been on at kids' TV time. I'm watching it now. There is some pretty hardcore, I think I said this before, and it gets even more. There are some pretty hardcore witchcraft and wizardry type stuff. You know, on the pagan Satanism vibe. There are lots of people that pop up. Inspector Wexford was May Marion's dad the other day. I've forgotten the guy's name.
Baker. George Baker?
Yeah. And our friend...
No.
George Baker, yeah, that's the... I think you're right.
No.
And our friend... who's been in everything, and He was the sweary gangster in the show the other week.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He
Can't remember his name.
turned up as King Richard. And various people pop up, and there's a lot of faces that you recognise just from British TV. But the most recent one was quite a dramatic episode, because I'm up to season 3 now, which is where Jason Connery comes into it.
Okay.
So Michael Prey as Robert Loxley seals his fate, and then Robin of Huntingdon has come in as the new Hearn's son, and but it's the showdown between Nazir, who's the Moor, who we remember, who the guy, the cool one with 2 swords,
Yep,
and wore black, and there's another guy who's a Moor who works for the guy who's going to be the new sheriff of Nottingham, and it's the other dude from The Professionals, the one that's not alive anymore. Not Judge John Dee, the other one.
Oh right, yeah.
I've forgotten his name now. It's gone right out of my head. But so he has his own Moor and there's history there, and there's like a grudge match.
Cool.
But obviously, being ITV in '93, they're not really.
It wasn't as early as '83, was it?
Oh no, it might be '85 now.
Yeah.
They're not the most Moor looking people.
Yeah.
So the guy who's come in is basically giving eyeliner.
Yeah.
To kind of, that makes him foreign, I guess. Which is, what do we think? Questionable now, but it does play well in the series, and it is a good episode. But yeah, there's one bit where like they'd had a battle years ago, and he'd scarred his face, and he goes, yeah, he does the voice as well. I'm not going to do. But basically explains that the only reason he got the best of him before last time is because he'd been on the hashish. And you see him on the pipe with a lady and all that, and there's some pretty violent stuff. I'm just shocked that it was on at like 5:30.
Generation X, we could handle this.
I know we can handle it, but it shocks me now, when I'm not timid on things, that it was marketed at kids. And I remember it being in Looking, like they've got the cartoon strips and all that. And it's just like, it's, in a way, it is really good. And again, I did say this before when I talked about it, you can definitely see who the actors are and who are the drama school brought in to be the extras. But, yeah, it just, I don't know, I'd like to see, with all the folk stuff and the lore that they put into it, and the, like I say, the Wiccan stuff, the pagan stuff and all that, they kind of put everything that Richard Carpenter, who wrote the series, trying to put everything in together. A bit of Arthurian legend sprinkled in and all that. I'd like to see that done now in a kind of, I guess, Game of Thrones like way.
Well, he did it with Merlin. That was all Arthurian legend.
Yeah, well, that was made for, I mean, like a proper grown up one, but more modern. Because some of it's a little, because it's just really, you can just tell that they're probably all stood in front of a tree outside of like the ITV studios or something, or wherever it is. But there is some good stuff. The music's good, but it is a really good show. I was just surprised how it would never be on before 9 o'clock nowadays. Even though like a backhand of a woman, shut up, wench. Or whatever, things like that. That's really good. That's one of the things I've been watching. What about you?
Like I say, anything new?
Anything new? Oh, good question. I've now I talked about that. I finished Quantum Leap for what they released in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, that doesn't come back till next week.
I can't think now. What have you watched?
Well, I've started. Obviously, this is me going anything new. That's a bit more recent than what you've been watching. But I started. I revisited Manifest because I watched the first couple of episodes way back in 2018.
I watched, I think, the first season and then didn't.
Well, Well,
actually, no. Up to, if I remember rightly, they got back to the airplane and it blew up.
Well, that's like the third episode. Or
Yeah,
something.
well, that was about where I got to,
Yeah.
and then I was like,
It's not really well. I mean, it's managed to get 5 seasons, so that's why I revisit it, because I wasn't overly impressed with it when I watched it the first time round. I don't think, and a bit like you, probably only got about 2 or 3 episodes in, but through lack of anything new to watch, thought we'd revisit it, and it's not actually that bad.
well, part of me was
There's
hoping
a nice
it was
story arc going on.
I wanted it to be an oceanic airplane.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But frustratingly, season 1 is on Netflix, and now I've got to hop over to Now TV to watch 2 and 3, and then go back to Netflix to watch 4. It's because Netflix saved it. Because it got cancelled without any ending, and the first season was by that point already on Netflix. So they decided to step in and take over production for the final season. But by that point, all the rights were still tied up to whomever the rights are tied up with. So they, even though they had season 1, they couldn't then they got to wait for season 2 and 3 for that to expire before they could put it on. So if I'm not careful, I might literally, because it auto plays. So it will end, and then suddenly it will be season 4, and they've all got beards or something. This is like, what the fuck's going on here?
I can't believe Dave's dead.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
exactly. So, but yeah, I'm going to stick with it. It's not that great, but the way I see it, if it got 4 seasons, 5 seasons, whatever it is,
Yeah, people must be watching it.
yeah, so it's worth a shot. And I've only got another one, so I'll go through that quick. And that was on BBC when we watched it all on iPlayer, but I think it's playing out over the next couple of weeks. Is Wolf?
I've seen it advertised, but
Yeah.
not watched it yet. It looks alright.
It is alright.
That's as far as it goes.
But that's as far as it goes. There is a twist, and you can see that coming a mile off. So if you haven't watched it and you're going to be disappointed that the twist isn't something much more original than what it actually is. But it is based on a series of books. So there's 2 stories going on. There's the actual main kidnapping story, and then the detective himself who lost his brother, or his brother went missing when they were like 8 or 9 or something. So they keep kind of interspersing the 2 stories, but that story doesn't end. So I'm assuming that if this is popular enough, they'll pick up with this, the story with the detective. So he will have another thing to investigate alongside the disappearance of his brother. Or if not, I might go and start reading the books, because as I say, the story itself is
you're
right.
having to wait a year if there's strikes or whatever for the next one.
Well, no, because it's UK, so they're not.
It's solidarity and all that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's TV.
Or what they're tied if they're tied up in other things waiting to film.
I don't think any of them are. It's not,
Yeah, because the main guy was Tybalt in the Globe's Romeo and Juliet, and he's done a lot of other things. And
he's done lots.
And the other dude is the evil bastard from Game of Thrones.
He was in.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a kidnap victim, so he's not.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, he's the you see it's the first episode. You see he's the kidnapper. So.
Oh, okay.
That story arc plays out.
Well, that's fair enough.
That wasn't a spoiler in any way, because that's just.
What was it called? When they were all on all community service, and they get special power. Misfits. That was it. He was in that as well, wasn't he? Yeah. Okay. And one new things I have watched.
Okay.
Star Trek: Brave New Worlds. I watched because I stopped watching it because Under the Cloak of War, which was episode 8 of season 2, was really cool and really dark. That was one I said you should watch, even though you didn't like Star Trek much, because it's very kind of a darker mash.
I've never watched an episode of Star Trek.
Well, that'd be the one I would say go and watch as a challenge.
50 years later.
Well, this is the new one. So
that's what I mean. After 50 years, watch a reboot of a reboot of a rehash of a.
But they're only about one season away from doing the original series again now.
So is this all set before?
This is all Captain Pike, who was Captain Pike originally was played by, oh god, I forgot the actor's name now, but it was the original pilot. They did a pilot. It was called The Cage. The only person from it that survived was Spock, Leonard Nimoy. And Captain Pike, they brought him back later on, and he'd been all sort of different actor, but he'd been like, he was in like a space wheelchair with like two lights. And
Space wheelchair.
But he had like two lights, and it was like what, or one light, and it was like once a yes, twice for no, kind of thing. And he's all like deformed in that, and then Spock takes him away to this planet where he'll be alright, sort of thing. So they kind of made the pilot sort of canon, if you know what I mean. And then this series follows the Captain Pike
Just
as the captain. I'm talking English.
You're not though.
I can hear it in my ears. So yeah, so it follows the Captain Pike as the captain, played by Anson Mount this time, rather than Jeffrey Hunter. That was it originally in the old ones. But
I got to be honest, none of that went in.
You asked.
Halfway through, I was regretting asking the question, but there we go.
Be respectful.
I'm sure people out there were interested to know about Pilot.
But that's where Brave New World is. And like in episode 10, Hegwany, they bump into a young Scotty. There's someone playing, not Simon Pegg this time, someone else, but who plays it better. He might actually be Scottish. But the whole thing, though, what Paul was worried about, is episode 9 was called Subspace Rhapsody, and that's the musical episode. And yeah, it was a musical episode, but they'd done it in a way where it actually fit the plot. Dare I say, it's as stretched as that was, but it did fit the plot as to why they were singing.
Were they dreaming or something?
No, it was like a alien thing that sort of made them respond in that way because it worked on a certain frequency and they had to be the key.
Okay.
So it does kind of explain it, but it was a musical episode.
It sounds like a load of arse gravy.
But it wasn't as bad as like, you know, like when they just had episodes like Buffy and that where everyone just sang.
Yeah, they did it in The Flash as well, didn't they? I think, if I remember rightly.
Well, he got it from including Glee, wasn't he? The Flash was in Glee for a while.
Was he? I don't know.
He was in the one episode I saw Glee that my sister showed me. I was trying to make a point about it, and I was right. And Hegwany, the final episode, is quite a bit brutal and a bit more war. They really do in Brave New World that when it is war stuff, they like to make it proper war. Like everyone's a bit, you know, it's affecting them mentally. Not like the old Star Trek where everyone was just on the bridge, fire, and everyone just sort of moves left, moves right, and stands there. There's a lot more acting involved, should I say? So it's a bit, but it ends on a cliffhanger, and of course now we've got to wait for the new season, which will be in 5 years' time at the moment.
Least.
So, but yeah, not a bad series, Strange New Worlds, but not that far off of. I think official timeline wise, we're like 10, 15 years off of when Captain Kirk takes over the Enterprise.
Don't they? Why am I going to ask this? I'm going to ask.
That was the J.J. Abrams films.
Right. Okay.
Which is it? They set that up as a. It was like it deviated from the timeline, so it's like an alternative timeline. And basically, J.J. Abrams done that himself, so he could then just do what he liked, and no one would go. Yeah. Basically.
No. Spock had a blister on his ear 2 years before. Before he landed on such and such. There's no blister. That kind of thing.
The other thing I've been watching is the season 2 of the new Beavis and Butthead on Paramount. If you're not watching it, you need to check it out. It's amazing. I'm in tears a lot of the time. It is Beavis and Butthead. You know.
It's not highbrow.
There are no deep plot twists.
The likelihood is you're going to piss your pants laughing.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's it on Paramount?
Paramount Plus, yeah. And,
it's not coming up on my thingy, so.
And a lot of it now, there are music videos, but a lot of it now is them watching like YouTubers and things like that. Because I guess, you know, they've moved on with what the kids are watching these days. So it's them like slagging them off and things, and but I find it a bit weirder where it's actual people. I guess they had to give permission. I'm hoping it's an honour to be slagged, because some of the things they say are a lot more. since they've come back, there's a lot more of like Butthead being crueler to Beavis. Beavis comes out, whilst the more crazier character if he gets going with his obsession of fire and boobs and scoring. Butthead is a lot more picking on Beavis than I remember it being.
Yeah.
If you know. And also you get the normal Beavis and Butthead, then there's certain ones where it's them when they're older.
Okay.
So you kind of get the different, to spice it up
Yeah,
a bit,
yeah.
you know, rather than just, I'm going to lay out the same thing. And you get this smart Beavis and Butthead who are like alien versions of them. And they show you, they introduce the alternative future of what could happen with Beavis and Butthead. And then you see them when they're older. So there's a lot more, you know, it's brilliant. And you also get, what's the old man? Mr. The one they annoy.
It's been 30 years.
But like, yeah, but you also get every so often you get like one of the little interludes is like one of his war stories.
Yeah.
Because he's in the and it's always like a famous war story, but it's like how he wasn't there. There's like a bit in like World War II where they're bombing the base, but he won't go because he needs to make sure the windscreen wiper on the Jeep's working properly before they drive it, and just stuff like that. So it's kind of mocking it, but not ripping soldiers too much.
Yeah.
But more, Mr. Anderson, no.
I don't know, and it's not going to really add much value to this podcast to remember it. So.
But it's the guy whose tool shed they go to.
Yeah.
And that's explained a lot as well. But yeah, but it is really funny. I've literally been in tears on a few episodes, and
cool.
Yeah. So, but I'd be interested in what younger teens think of it, because for us it's obviously a little bit of nostalgia and what we grew up on. But well, they made 2 series of it so far, so it seems to be doing something right.
Yeah, it's probably just us, people like us watching it. I expect.
But yeah, and that's pretty much what I've been
That's
watching.
it.
Oh, and we've now finished with Kate. Her journey into the Star Wars universe.
Star Wars Odyssey.
She's done the original trilogy, which on rewatching now, I think we mentioned it today. It really isn't that bad.
It was the Hang On.
This is the.
That's
Phantom,
not the original trilogy.
No, these are the old. Yeah, the Phantom Menace.
That's not the original trilogy.
No, not the original.
You got that? That's, I'm saying
part
you've
one,
just blown up the internet by calling Phantom Menace part of the original trilogy.
Parts 1 to 3.
Yeah.
And then we've watched Rogue One.
Okay, so you're doing it in proper.
And then we've just watched like the first 5-10 minutes of New Hope, just so she got how Rogue One linked into, because Rogue One basically ends at the start of the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So Vader's just come on the ship, and now we've stopped, and then we'll watch it just so she remembers that bit when we carry on. But yeah, there's a lot in the original. I might go back now and dig out the DVDs, because there's a lot of deleted scenes on that with like the political side, like Bella Organa and Mon Mothma, you know, like the rebel leaders, but they brought that out more in like the Obi-Wan TV series and all that. So I don't know. Yeah, I think there's a lot in there. I just think it got kind of, after Phantom Menace a little bit, I think it kind of left a bad taste, and it took a little while to get rid of it. But
fair enough.
Just wish we'd seen him kill some of the younglings. I'm supposed to hate him. I need to see him do something despicable, not have it suggested to me.
Yeah.
But the best bit of Vader ever, though, is that corridor right at the end of Rogue One, where he just gets around and just rips everyone to shreds and lightsabers them, and you actually see Vader do something evil. Because up to then, I don't think you ever even seen him kill anyone.
No, I mean,
most of them were his own people.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and that's pretty much it, I think.
Cool. Okay, so we don't have a jingle for this. I didn't have time to paint it to scale or whatever Stock would say. So we're going to go straight on into it, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, premise.
Hit me with your theories.
I've scoured the internet and come up with a couple of fan theories that I think are interesting to say. Well, no, I'm doing this, making this sound far better than it should be. just some theories I grabbed off the internet. Let's leave it at that.
Okay,
You ready?
Yeah, okay. Theory number one.
Theory number one. So, seeing as we did Office Space last week, this one stood out to me. Office Space is the Matrix if Neo took the blue pill. So Neo decides to play it safe and take the blue pill. Morpheus and his crew give him a new identity and image similar to his old one in order to keep him and them safe and let Neo keep living in the Matrix.
Wow, that would be an interesting film.
Did they come out at the same roughly?
Office Space was before.
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
Matrix,
thinking. So
I think. But yeah, well, it fits well. I like the evil boss. He would have been good if they had Gary Coleman as what was it, Gary Cole? Where did I get him out of that?
Gary Cole.
Gary Coleman's little dude, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you talking about all this? Yeah, Gary Cole is
What's his name?
he could have been Mr. Smith or
Mr.
whatever it was. That one of those. That would have been quite cool. Well, it could work, but then that's kind of the point I guess they were trying to make. But I do feel that making Office Space probably rebelled better.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even go to work anymore and still got promoted. But which you can check out on our podcast that was recently released. Episode
108.
108. Cult Action Podcast. Office Space available now. But yeah, the Matrix.
link, it'll be down below if you're watching somewhere.
Hit the links. But it would definitely have made the Matrix more interesting than what they did with it after the first film.
Yeah.
Because it just went down the toilet, and the remake just tanked.
Oh,
or whatever it was, the reboot, reissue.
Yeah. I didn't even bother, to be fair, I didn't bother after the first one, so.
Another Lawrence Fishburne didn't bother with the remake, did they? They had, he wasn't even in it. They had someone else be Morpheus, but that's because the grid created the character as, whatever, rebooted him or something, some crap.
Gave him a new avatar type scenario.
But, yeah, I don't know what the Wachowskis were hoping to do with that, but what started as an amazing film kind of slowly got more and more. They Highlanded it, basically, in my opinion. They had an amazing film, they told the complete story, it made a fortune, and then they were like, oh, we need to do another one. It's like, but we've said everything.
Yeah.
And they tried it and carried on, and they don't need to, their sort of desperateness tarred on the legendary Office Space. So I poo-poo that theory.
So do I. I think it's a load of old ass gravy, especially seeing as Office Space came out before the Matrix. It just doesn't work, even in a timeline way of doing things. So I'm going to save the best for last.
Okay.
And go on to a fairly popular one that we've all heard before. Ferris Bueller doesn't actually exist. The popular and adventurous Ferris represents everything Cameron cannot be, so he creates a new best friend and a great day off to psychologically prepare himself to finally confront his father.
I heard this a while back, and there were and it did blow my mind for a second and just change how I looked at the film. But when you do watch the film, Ferris does interact with other people. And so it kind of
just knocks it on the head.
Knocks it on the head, unless you want to say that Cameron is Ferris, and we see it in a kind of Fight Club spoilers kind of way. Maybe
that's how we could make it work.
Yeah,
is that we're just seeing, but then how does what you've still got? I've forgotten the girlfriend's name in the movie now.
Yeah,
but, there's too much interaction between all three of them for that to really work, I think. Yeah,
but is that just it's really with one of them, and it's just like the different sides of his personality or whatever?
Could be. I mean, I like to think it makes a film, it makes a decent film really cool, but it's just, I think it's too much.
Yeah, also, no, you can't, because you've got the sister.
Yeah.
And we see We see the sister and the mum and dad and the race back and the what's his name, the pedo headmaster.
Yeah.
Jeffrey something.
Can't remember his name.
But he's not acting much anymore.
Funny that.
Or on computers. But, allegedly. No, he was convicted. It was true.
Yeah.
And just don't want to get
safe.
sued. Like, good idea. And it would, it'd be nice if people took chances like that with films sometimes, not just once every 20 years and then they win loads of awards of being creative and edgy. It's like, But that's not a bad one. But when I did hear that, there was a moment where it blew my mind, and then I had to go home and watch it, and just like took notes almost. And then it was like, no, he does interact with other people.
He does this, he does that. It's too much.
But that would have made the car scene when he smashes the car through the, when they're trying to get the meeting. That would have made that scene even better though if it like just went through, and then he's shouting, and then it's just him stood there. The revelation scene. Maybe it should be remade, and they do that. That would be quite cool. Maybe he can be his own dad this time.
Yeah,
because he's old enough now.
Definitely.
If he wasn't. Was it Spin City? I just think the last thing I saw him in.
No, but he's done loads of stuff since then. But he was in Spin City. But
that's quite old now, isn't it?
Yes, that's like 20 years old, if not more. I think it was the 90s, wasn't it?
God.
Sure it was. And he was in Speed as well. Again,
the bus that wouldn't slow down. Speed was before Spin City.
Yeah, Speed was like 93, 92.
I still haven't seen it, but oh man.
How have you not seen Speed?
It was like, it's Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves on a bus.
It's not a bad film. It's it's not highbrow or even.
I'll be honest, I wasn't rushing to it at that point. And then they said it was got Dennis Hopper in. I was like, and then didn't know. I'm sure I've probably seen bits of it, but I've not sat down and watched it all the way through. And I've seen Speed 3.
Why?
Father Ted.
Oh right, yeah.
That was good. That was with the milk float. And he's like, "You got to get off, Father." He's like, "I can't. I got to drive it."
Yeah, classic episode.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so we're poo-pooing that theory as well. Okay, well, the final one is, I think is a revelation to you. Sandy dies at the beginning of Grease.
Shit.
So the theory stems from the surreal ending where Sandy and Danny fly off in the
car.
Sky in a car, meaning that she's going to heaven and everything that's just happened is kind of like a death dream or whatever.
Well, it says she nearly drowned in the song.
In the song, yeah, saved her life. She nearly drowned. Type thing.
So is that the idea? She does drown, and the rest of it is her.
The rest of it is like a Life on Mars type thing where
Lost season 5 or 6 or so like Rydell Heights School is purgatory. I like that to start with. That explains my life. So, right, let's go through this then. Okay, so they meet at the beach.
Yep.
They're all in love, and because you can get that cheesy music, don't you? And then she drowns, and then we hit the change in tone to Grease. And then I guess her arriving at school is purgatory, or her journey into the next life.
Or it's just literally, because you think about it, if you go to sleep and you dream, in your head, weeks can pass in that dream.
Oh yeah.
So who knows what happens when you.
Well, that could explain
go unconscious just before you die.
The Grease Lightning and Beauty School Dropout as well, because that always gets a bit surreal, doesn't it? Because they suddenly all change outfits and there's angels around in Beauty School Dropout and all that. So maybe it's signposting.
So she was anxious about starting a new college, school, whatever it is. So all of this is like an anxiety dream type thing. It's just as she's about to pop her clogs, and then she flies off into the sunset as the light goes out on her life.
What about then the dance contest then, because Danny wins it with Cha-Cha at the end, doesn't he?
Do you know what?
So
I've
is that,
seen the film about twice.
So would that be? I guess maybe that's like, you know, the real world impounding in onto her perfect fantasy. You know, you're not going to win it because you're dead, type thing. T-birds, birds fly away. Pink ladies, maybe that was the colour of her when she was drowning.
Maybe. That's.
And you got all the others. Because everyone ends up together, and Rizzo's not pregnant and everything, isn't it? At the end, so and then it all ends perfectly, and then they fly away, and the flying away isn't. That's actually in real life. It's not during it's the end of a song, but it's at the end of a song, but. It's kind of everyone. They're in a big open festival field carnival thing, aren't they?
Exactly. What better way to end a dream?
But then, because she sings goodbye to Sandra. That's at the race course, though. When they do the race, she sings goodbye to Sandra D. And it's all like moody, because at the beginning it's all up tempo and sort of mocking about her, isn't it? And then it goes deep. So maybe she's like, maybe that's when she dies, or maybe she like. Tops us up then or something, and then
no, the theory is that she drowns there and then.
No, I'm just wondering.
But, you know, so it's her. You know,
that's when she dies. At that point,
she dies at that very point, and everything else after that is.
And then
it's
it
like
all goes
like
super
fantasy, a death dream. Yeah. So it's all stuff that's happening in her subconscious as she's ebbing away. The life force is going out of her type scenario.
Do we know, has Travolta and Newton-John or anyone commented on this?
Well, I don't think Newton-John ever will, but...
I'm sure maybe in the past when she was alive, not now.
No. But then they were, you know, it was a stage musical before the film, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was a musical
so
first,
it's got nothing to do with them, really. What?
Is that how the stage musical ends then?
I don't know. I've never seen the stage musical.
You proposed this theory to me.
Just came across it on the internet. That's it. I am not proposing this theory. I'm not. What's the word? I don't get behind this theory.
Okay.
Is what.
So is this one of the few things you've come across on the internet?
Yes.
That's what I've been watching.
So what do we do? Are we poo-pooing this one, or...?
No, I think this has got legs.
You reckon it's got legs?
I mean, it'll all be down to what the original people would say about it, but I think this could be...
revelation.
There's nothing necessarily to... I'm trying to think, there's nothing to disprove it, as such, as a storyline, because everything
unlike
fits
the
in.
Ferris Bueller thing we just said, it's not instantly disprovable because everything about it,
the fact, even maybe the change of, at the end where she changes to, like, Danny becomes like the perfect hero with the Letterman thing, and then she's like the vamp biatch with a cigarette and sewing
what she's always wanted to be, but couldn't. But she can fulfil that
role, that role now,
in a dying death throes.
So Sandy dies at the beginning of Grease. I'd give that a thumbs up. I think that's doable, and someone should remake that and emphasise. David Lynch, where are you? David Lynch does Grease.
I'm just surprised you've never heard that theory before.
Never heard that before. And I've heard a lot of shitty theories about films. Probably because I don't look up theories about Grease.
I didn't look up theories about Grease. We suddenly decided to record a podcast at the last minute, and the best thing I could come up with was crazy fan theories.
All I'm thinking now is all the different bits of Grease and how that can symbolise death.
You're going to go and watch it now, aren't you?
Yeah. There may be an article out of this. my new book, Greased.
Cool. That is the last of our theories for this episode.
Yeah. It's going to be called Greased, and it's going to star A bad boy called Randy and a girl called Fanny.
Okay, I can't. The first
Copyright.
just Randy Fanny as a name. For a song.
Randy. No, Randy's the boy. Fanny's the girl.
I guess that.
Although in this day and age.
No, that's true. This is very true. Anyway, before we go down that rabbit hole.
Save me.
Yeah, let's guess call it a day. Let's wrap up.
Wrap up.
So this has been a very off the cuff, impromptu podcast recording.
Yeah,
with
even
absolutely no planning. We've had no input from Ray the Orangutan. Quite frankly, I'm disappointed in you.
It's a shame about Ray.
Yes. So we'll start the shutdown procedure. Don't forget you can rate and review us on your preferred podcast app. No, he's not dead, don't worry. That's why I kept looking up at the screen. He's not. It's fine.
I just turned around and Brian Blessed was on the news and my heart dropped, but he's okay.
No, he's
Brian's alive!
He's alive in the studio, it's fine. Anyway, shutdown procedure is in full swing. Don't forget to rate and review us on your preferred podcast app. You can watch us now on YouTube. I'm waving at YouTube if you're not.
Like us, follow us,
like
share
it,
us.
follow it. We've got other stuff on there. We've got Heroes of Cult. We've got the Do You Remember series, which is gradually building. There's only about 3 of those, but there's quite a few Heroes of Cult. We're up to 15 now.
Ooh.
Yeah. You can get a brief look at the brief career. No, a brief look at the career of the likes of Gary Cole, Brian Glover.
Erlen Van Liefdentude.
No, he's not. We haven't done one on him yet.
Oh no, he had his own special
He's got his own podcast.
Well, you can check that out too.
Yeah.
Plus lots of trailers and things of stuff that's coming out, and lots of footage from the different conventions we've been to.
Yeah. So, what else is there to say? If you want to get in contact with us, if you got any fan theories that you know of that we could include in a future episode, then you can email us at cultfactionpodcast@mail.com. I went to Brett then, but he doesn't actually know the email address. For everything else Cult Faction related, such as news, reviews,
previews and all sorts of stuff,
and a competition to win
the Barnick Summer Giveaway, the complete $6 Million Man and the complete Barnick Woman Blu-ray box sets. That includes all the spin-off movies as well. You need to get your asses to cultfaction.com and enter.
There we go. I think that is all our housekeeping for the shutdown procedure completed. All that remains to say is thank you for listening, thank you for watching.
Yeah,
and
we'll be back with
a full complement next week.
And we are looking
spotlight
at
on Critters.
Ooh. Right, and Ray's not coming.
Ray's not going to be here.
Ray was
week,
rubbish.
Yeah.
They're just bogging at me.
Exactly.
What?
He's failed his audition. We'll bring the old guard back in for next week, I think.
Fair enough.
Cool. Right. I have been your host, Damien Hicks. I have been joined by
Brett Summers.
And goodbye.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen.
A what babaloo bab? A what bamboo?
Superman.
Dunno. Here's your host, Jim Bowen. Ouch.
Can't hear anything in my ears.
If you're going to look at anyone, look at the camera. Well, if you're going to look at me, all you got to do is that. Just keep your face.
Oh, I forget.
You literally forget 2 seconds after I told you. Captain Sir Major Tom, whatever his name is. You see the whole thing with the swimming pool? I don't know, it seems like they took the charity money and built a swimming pool. He walked so they could swim.